Hello and welcome to the Ingles Southern Conference Basketball Championships Preview Show. I'm Chris Bainbridge, and for the next 30 minutes, we're getting you ready for one of the first tournaments in Division I college basketball. The SoCon was the first conference ever to hold a postseason tournament, so it's fitting that this collection of men's and women's teams be among the first to kick off the madness that awaits. This has been one of the best and most competitive mid-majors in the country this season, and the conference stands a very real chance of sending multiple schools to the big dance. The storylines abound heading into the weekend. This is a conference that's draining threes at a rate unmatched in the country. It's a conference that has rich tradition and first-time coaches making their debut. We have super seniors, super-sized big men, and superior programs ready to take their place in SoCon history. When all is said and done, one men's team and one women's team will be crowned champion. Fortunately for us, we get to watch it all play out. Welcome to Asheville, North Carolina, and the Ingles Southern Conference Basketball Championships. It's time to toss the ball in the air and see who comes out on top. It's time for SoCon basketball. We begin our program by introducing you to the preseason pick to take home the title. The University of Tennessee at Chattanooga has been steadily improving since head coach Lamont Paris took over in 2017. This season, his star guard Malachi Smith has them poised to make their first trip to the big dance since Coach Paris's arrival.
Basketball, sports in general, but basketball's always been, my first love. And my road to Chattanooga specifically involved some successes that we had had when I was coaching at Wisconsin. I was there 7 years, and I had learned a lot of things and enough things that was the next step for me. I'm Lamont Paris. I am the head men's basketball coach at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. Had a chance to interact with former athletic director who hired me here. We hit it off really just kind of as two friends. And then when the job did open, then it wasn't a lot of discussions because at that point we had developed a relationship. A lot of changes we made in just how we conduct ourselves off the court, and then as well as on the court, we've made a lot of changes too. Academically, we've broken the school previous record for men's basketball for the program. We've broken that semester GPA 6 times out of the 9 semesters now that I've been here. So I'd say in every which way imaginable that it's grown and changed. Malachi Smith, what an important player to us as a team. It doesn't take a lot to figure out how important he is to what our team achieves, particularly on the offensive side of it. Any coach knows how important Malachi is to our team, just on some leadership and communication aspects of what he brings to the game. It's just the whole ball of wax. This guy has continued to improve from the day that he got here. Malachi Smith is a very effective and efficient scorer for us, but it's hard for me to measure what he means to our team in both not only some basketball ways, but in some pretty general non-basketball areas as well. We were talking about what this year could be. We had a good start last year. COVID got us pretty good, but we still finished pretty strong. We got a lot of guys that have been in a lot of games and played a lot of minutes. And then the synergy that we have as a unit, I think guys look and lean upon each other rather than dividing and criticizing. They look for an answer, and that oftentimes will get you through a rough time on the court. I've been around basketball for a long time and seen a lot of NCAA tournament games in a chair like this. And so I talk about that with this team, and it's a special team that's able to really handle that, not get their heads big because coach is telling us how great they are, but being candid about what opportunities lie out there if we're able to do X, Y, and Z. They love, generally and truly love being around each other. They have a chance to be special.
The UTC Mocs were picked to finish first in the SoCon this season. The team picked to finish second, Furman University. We had an opportunity to sit down with Paladin guard Alex Hunter and learn what makes this COVID senior so super.
I'll never forget, we were in preseason workouts. We were doing like skill and conditioning type stuff, and the coaches had brought it to me and one of my old teammates, he graduated, Clay Mounts. We were the only seniors last year. And they were just like, hey, you might have the opportunity to come back, but we're gonna see what the NCAA decision is. And so right then I was like, man, the chances of that happening are probably slim to none. So I just was going about it like, hey, this is gonna be my last year. And then it did happen. I wanna say that was like close to the beginning of October. When I heard that, I was like, man, that'll be a great opportunity, you know, just to see, not looking too far ahead because I wanted to play that season out, my actual senior year. But, you know, I thought about it a lot, and I talked to the coaches, I talked to my family, and both my parents said it would be a good opportunity for me to come back. And so, you know, I just said I wanted to build off last year. I've improved every year throughout my career here, statistically, but also just maturing as not only a player, but as a man, you know, the way I'm thinking. And I felt like I could do some things here as a leader and help the guys around me like they helped me. And it was a no-brainer, like I said. Once I got that opportunity, I just went ahead and told Coach Richie, I was like, I'm coming back. I'm Alex Hunter. I'm a super senior here at Furman University, point guard for the basketball team. And because of the COVID year, I was granted this 5th year.
What Alex Hunter means to this team is just having a player that understands winning at a high level. He's also the point man of our defense, somebody that really understands our defensive concepts and plays defense at a high level. And then also somebody that knows all of our schemes and our concepts. And we also love the ability that he can make shots. And so, you know, he's a great person. He's an unbelievable teammate. He embodies everything that we're about as a program. And to be able to have the pleasure of having him back one more year, you know, we consider ourselves blessed.
I would say the most part is, as simple as it may sound, is just having fun. You know, I feel like in the past I've looked ahead at too much and, you know, not embraced the moment in certain situations that I wish I had taken advantage of a little bit more. And so just enjoying every part of the process, whether it be, I was telling Coach, like, whether it be lifting weights or having a practice, like, I'm not gonna get this opportunity again with this group of guys. And this school is so dear to me and means so much to me. It's helped form me and mold me into the man I am right now. So I feel like I owe so much to the school. Like, I gotta embrace it and take what it's been given to me as well, while I'm trying to give everything I can back. And so I'm just trying to enjoy every part of it.
Alex Hunter passed the 1,000-point mark for the Paladins this season. And so did another larger-than-life player in the conference, VMI center Jake Stevens. In a conference that leads the country in threes, you might think that running an offense through a 6'11 center might kind of stand out. Well, it does, in the best possible way.
My favorite thing about playing center for the VMI team is just that the ball runs through you a lot. You get to make a lot of the decisions, and then also surrounding you is a lot of great shooters and a lot of great playmakers. So they make my job pretty easy. Just having the ball in your hands and having that trust is the biggest thing for me. My name is Jake Stevens. I play center here at VMI, and I'm the class of 2022. Played a bunch of different sports growing up, so football, baseball. I was definitely probably the tallest kid, probably the biggest kid. I was never really dead set on basketball, so wasn't always, working towards this, but, really in high school, I hit another growth spurt, got to about 6'6", 6'7" as a freshman, and really thought that, this was something I wanted to do and pursue, and knew that you have to work with that. So just took it one step at a time every offseason, tried to get better on one little thing, and, thankfully I ended up here. I mean, we can get hot and knock down shots with the best of them in the nation, I think. When you look at what we do offensively, we're hard to guard. And then defensively, I think we bring a lot of toughness. We have a lot of grit, and we're just never willing to quit. I mean, we've seen it in games this year already. We've been down double digits, and we come back and make it a game. So it just takes getting hot at the right time, and we can do that as well as anybody. Yeah, it's been a great season. Accomplished a few goals that I had set for myself coming in freshman year, 1,000 points, different things like that. Winning a couple SoCon games has been fun. But I mean, the biggest thing for me is just to see the development of the team. You know, we've been able to compete in every single game, which is something we weren't doing when I was a freshman, and just that we don't quit. I mean, like I said earlier, we've been out of a lot of games and we've been battling back into them. So I think just, you know, sticking it out and just not quitting has been the best thing to see, not only for myself, but from the team standpoint. I'm probably most looking forward to just having the chance to compete for the Southern Conference Championship. I mean, at the end of the day, that's why you come to VMI, and that's why you play college basketball, is to win the championship. So definitely at the end of the day, the chance to compete for a high-level Southern Conference tournament is the ultimate goal, and that's probably the thing I'm looking forward to the most. I can't even really put it into words how much winning a conference championship would mean. I mean, it would just be, one of my lifetime dreams complete. It's something I've been thinking about since I was, a little kid. So it would be a huge life goal complete for sure.
The longest distance to travel in SoCon country is the trip from Jake Stevens' VMI all the way down to Macon, Georgia, the home of our next school, the Mercer Bears. Coach Greg Gary had his team in the title game of the tournament last season, and he's ready to go back.
Competition. That's probably the number one thing, is just competing against somebody else trying to win. And that's the ultimate, I think, about basketball. I grew up in Indiana, so like, you better, like Friday, Saturday night, that's what you did. Grew up on a farm, so we had a pretty big, my dad built a real big outdoor slab of cement that was bigger than almost a half court, and then put a goal up, so we'd be out there all the time, right behind the garage. And we had a barn that during the winter, we would we spaced out the hay and the straw that we put in the barn, and we had a goal up, and that's kind of how I got into it, and probably what made me a little competitive. I have 5 kids. The oldest is 24, and the first 4 were girls. And so it goes 24, 21, 20, 11, and 7, and the last one was a boy. They're awesome. They're around the game, but family is really important to me and to this program. They love being involved. They were all played some sort of sport growing up and know how important it is. So yeah, there's never a dull moment. It's my responsibility. It's our coach's responsibility to make them better people after they graduate from here. That's number one. Yeah, I do love winning, and competition is great, but part of competition, learning how to compete at a high level, is only going to help you when you leave out of here. So that's part of the culture that I enjoy trying to get to do, and holding guys accountable. I said it from the very start, our expectations are to get in that championship game every year. And now we got there in our second year, which was good. And now what we got to do is just, get over that hump. But our expectations are to, we should be up there and win the league every year. I don't know why those wouldn't be the expectations, because that's the ultimate prize, is to get to the NCAA tournament. I've been there as a player, I've been there as a coach. There is nothing like it. Our president, Dr. Underwood, President Underwood, and Jim Cole, our AD, I mean, from day one, that the expectations are, to do that. And so I like that. I think that's good. I think you just get the best out of people when you have high aspirations. You're going to have to bring it an awful lot, and I think that's good. It's pressure, yes. It's all right. It's okay. It's good to have that. Just makes you perform it should, for the most, perform or get prepared to perform as best you can.
When the Mercer Bears came up one win short of a title last year, they fell to UNC Greensboro. The Spartans have a new coach this season. Mike Jones spent the last 10 seasons as the head coach at Radford and claimed a Big South title, Coach of the Year honors, and took the Highlanders to the NCAA tournament. Now it's time to see if he can do it again, this time in the SoCon.
I grew up in Silver Spring, Maryland, right outside of Washington, D.C., and went to high school there, and then ended up going to college at Howard University. Played there for 4 years and then started coaching not too long after that. Fell in love with the game when I was young because my father was a professional basketball player, so I was around it all the time and at a very high level, and just, had the love for the game ever since. I would have loved to play other sports, but I only knew one sport really to play, and that was basketball. But I love tennis, I love golf, baseball. I spent, the last 10 years as a head men's coach at Radford, and coming into that situation, it was kind of starting all over again. And, by the end of our tenure there, we were able to win 3 consecutive championships. And it's because of the foundation that we laid in those first few years that we were able to build a championship caliber program. And so we hope to be able to do the same thing here. The only difference is we're coming into one that's already established as a champion. The success that they've had, particularly in the last 5 years, is pretty much unprecedented. I think there's only been 8 teams in the country that have won 20 games 5 consecutive years, and UNCG was one of them. So a lot of positivity surrounding basketball. I know that they've committed to winning with the facilities that we have here and the commitment to basketball, so it made it a pretty easy choice. We want to compete. We want to be a team that, that you're going to have to really work hard against every possession, and that starts on the defensive end. The rebounding is, those things are really important. Those things, have a direct effect on winning night in and night out. And so, we want to, be a really good defensive team, and rebound extremely well. And make you work for everything that you get. And then on the other end, we just want to be an unselfish team. We want to share the ball. We want to get a great team shot, not necessarily a great individual shot. And so, being unselfish and sharing the ball and being great teammates is really important on the offensive end. I've been with them now for a little while and gotten to know them on and off the court, and I think we got a special group of young men who really look at this as a family, and they enjoy being around each other. They enjoy competing together in practice. So I'm really looking forward to just seeing how that translates on the floor. The work that we put in every day has been good, but you want to see some results when the game starts, and so I'm looking forward to seeing how they play and how they compete.
UNCG has been a perennial contender in the SoCon tournament, making regular trips to the Final Four. A frequent attendee on the women's side the past few years has been the Samford Bulldogs. Coach Kuhn's team won it all in 2020, and this year, she has them back, looking for more.
Every year I've been here, we haven't necessarily started off the season extremely well. We've played a very challenging non-conference schedule, and just trying to work out the kinks, and this team has just really bought into continuing to get better and better every single week, every single month, every single game. Been a part of athletics my whole life. My parents were educators and always in sports. I knew I would probably have a career somewhat in coaching. About my sophomore, junior year in college, my assistant coach, Jennifer Grubbs, kind of started putting a bug in my ear. Hey, I think you should look down the college road. I think you'd be really good at this level. I remembered my first game as a coach. As a graduate assistant, even, I considered myself a coach. I knew right away that I wanted to get into coaching. I got my first job at Belmont University, had success at Valdosta State, got an opportunity to coach at my alma mater for 3 years, and the Sanford coach decided he wanted to retire. And so it was kind of like I had a job interview without knowing I was having a job interview, and I got a call about a week and a half later, asked me to come interview. I think this team has a lot of fun and really care about each other. And so in March, some teams are burnt out, ready for their season to be over, and our team is still hungry to continue to be at practice and to continue to be able to play. I really love scheming. I really love drawing up plays and coming into practice with new ideas and watching it work. I love that. It's probably my favorite part of coaching. There's a lot of coaches that love practice. I love games. I just love the aspect of preparing for a game and then seeing it work. The better relationship you have with your players, the more they're going to run through a brick wall for you. We're kind of their family away from home, and really want them to feel that way because college is hard, and those freshmen and sophomore are really trying to figure out their way, and being able to help them navigate, being away from their parents for the first time in their life and having to make all these decisions on their own and, maybe messing up and having to learn from that, but still love them through that just like your parents would. I love the relationships that you can have as a coach, and just watching kids grow up, go from being a girl, a high school senior, to a woman when they graduate college is just a really cool process. I really love it here. I love the people. I love what Sanford stands for. In terms of a basketball program, I think we've raised the bar a little bit for what the expectation is. And so, winning just leaves you wanting more. And so our plan is just to continue to get better and better to potentially, win an NCAA tournament game. The tournament is just such a fun atmosphere. It's really a culmination of the end of the year, and really anything can happen, which makes SoCon tournament so fun. I mean, we obviously want to win, but I think anybody can beat anybody at this league on any night, and it'll just make for a really exciting finish, I think, at the end of the season.
With so many great men and women across the conference, it's no wonder that the SoCon is climbing the ranks every year as one of the best basketball conferences in the country. To conclude our program, we bring in the voice of the SoCon, Peteyannity, who has called the games for every school in the conference and will be on the call this weekend for the tournament.
I think it's important to note that when the year began, Chattanooga was the pick to win the conference, and they've sat in first place for most of the season. But as the year has gone on, you have seen that next group of teams has come along and lived up to the expectation that you'd probably be able to throw a string around maybe 6 teams once we get to Asheville to win the championship. And you'd put Furman in that category. Wofford and Mercer would certainly fit there. Maybe UNCG, maybe ETSU. And perhaps as maybe a dark horse would be Sanford, because they're so explosive offensively. And then don't forget about VMI, which has hovered around 2nd or 3rd all year long and has been a real surprise. And I think they're for real. I really do. And I think they're the kind of team, just like a year ago, that could find themselves playing on Sunday night, and who knows, for the first time in a long time, find themselves, VMI, getting all the way to the championship game. In my book, Malachi Smith and Jake Stevens are right now coming down the final furlong in the race for Player of the Year. As we roll on, as the season has gone on, you've seen Smith impact his team in so many ways. I think as good of a mid-major guard in the country, and he should be the winner of the Lou Henson Award, which goes to the top mid-major player in the country. At the same time, he may not necessarily be the most valuable player to his team in the league, because Jake Stevens of VMI has been such a difference maker. At 6'10", he's taken another step up, as he has each year in his career with the Keydets, and he's so tough to defend close to the basket and also outside. If you take Jake Stevens away from VMI, they have nowhere near the success they've had. Malachi Smith would be a huge loss for Chattanooga, but I think they would have enough around him, even with the loss of their big post player, Silvio De Sosa. And then Alex Hunter's been a really interesting player for Furman this year, because he's had the green light to hit threes, and he's done so at a wonderful rate. And he's perhaps a comparable piece to other guys they have on their team. He doesn't have to shoulder the load, I think, that you have in Malachi Smith with Chattanooga, and Jake Stevens, the burden he carries for VMI. I'm excited going into the Southern Conference tournament, because while I think Chattanooga should be the favorite, I've seen enough balance in each of these teams in the conference and scoring ability that on any given night, any given game, that particular team could end up winning regardless of who they're playing. And by an example of that is the fact that a Citadel team could get a big win at home against UNCG and also go on the road and get a big win at VMI. And a UNCG team gets knocked off by Mercer on its home court on a Sunday, and then just a few days later goes into the roundhouse at Chattanooga and beats a team that only has a handful of losses in all their games this season. So you've seen that throughout the conference this year. I think it speaks volumes, too, that you've got a Samford team that's had some issues with injuries and that kind of thing throughout the year. This conference has 6 wins against Power 5 conferences this year. Samford owns 2 of those, and yet is in the middle pack or lower third of the league standings, at least as February has progressed. What a great relationship Ingles has, not only with its community, but with this conference and with the Southern Conference tournament, the Ingles Southern Conference Basketball Championships. And it's so great when I go to these arenas and I see the Ingles logo, or each Saturday on our Ingles SoCon Game of the Week, being able to talk about all the great efforts of Ingles, because they're more than just a place where you get your groceries or other products. They're a place that you feel the reach in the community. And as far as the Southern Conference goes, with the Mascot Challenge, and also with all that's happening at the SoCon tourney, all the fun activities, they really bring a lot of fun to a great weekend anyway.
This weekend, Ingles is proud to bring you the action live from the Harrah's Cherokee Center in downtown Asheville, North Carolina. Whether you're watching at home or in person, you're sure to witness the drama, energy, and excitement that have become the hallmarks of SoCon basketball. 2 champions will be crowned for the men's and women's teams, each punching their tickets to the big dance. Who will it be? We're about to find out. Thank you to Ingles for another great season of televised games across SoCon country. Thanks to all of the schools, coaches, and players who shared their stories with us tonight. And thank you for watching. Get ready for some great basketball at the Ingles Southern Conference Basketball Championships. I'm Chris Bainbridge. Thanks for watching.